तो सर पेपर 5 का वैसे इंट्रोडक्शन होगा. व्हाट पेपर 5 is कि it's a very small paper. ठीक है. It's only for just for 30 marks. ठीक है. Has a very small percentage as well. It's 9.5% or uh, अभी इसका जो current नाम है ना, that's planning. ठीक है. So you're supposed to plan a practical analysis. Some data would be given. You would be asked to analyze the data and draw conclusions, or फिर एक उसके अंदर evaluation है, which is the conclusions, etc. Right? So it's planning, analysis, evaluation. You normally get two questions. ठीक है. You've got question one, you've got question number two. और उसमें ये कि those two questions, one of them normally is about more about it's more about planning. It's more about planning, and the other one is more about data is given, and you have to analyze and sometimes evaluate. They might ask you ATP की तरह, it's alternate to practical, but it's relatively easy and there's a lot of practice involved. More than the content, practice is more involved. When you're doing P5. So the first thing is I'm going to show you one paper 5. But before showing you one paper 5, we need to revise. We need to we need to have a revision of laboratory concepts. Specifically laboratory apparatus. And how do they work? So ज़्यादा laboratory apparatus, how does it work? And then how you're going to use them during a practical, that's a different story. So I'm gonna start with a quick recap होगा about everything. So I'm gonna start with containers. Everything that's in the lab. What containers do you use? And these are just containers. So containers to start करें, the first one is obviously number one, that's a beaker. The many ways a beaker could be used, we're going to talk about it. So beaker का ये कि now everyone knows what a beaker is. That's the first thing is it's not a measurement device. It's not a measure. You don't measure things with a beaker. उसके ऊपर there are some graduations, but those are only for to tell you the capacity. Graduations on a beaker. That's the second important चीज़ है कि it's so not a measurement device. Remember that. And any size, comes in any size. Remember, all apparatus they come in any size. You want a 100 cm cube beaker, you want a 50 cm cube beaker, a 10 centimeter cube beaker. All of them are there. So what is a beaker used for? It's used for storing solutions. So और क्या क्या हो सकता है इसमें? It's for storing solutions. It's even for dissolving, stirring. You want to mix something. नीचे लिख देते हैं. So it's used for dissolving and mixing. So you can what else? You can use it for heating, especially when you want to gently heat something. So उसका example है, you use it as as a water bath. You put a thermometer inside. Uh, then it's normally not used for reactions. You can reactions, remember, इसमें नहीं करते, but you can do it. You can use it for reactions, but normally it's not used for reactions because there are a few things. Uh, it has some issues, okay? Especially vigorous reactions, there might be spillage. Okay, it has a wide opening which would lead to stuff being spilled. Okay? And what else? Okay, you can't collect gases. So you can't really do all of that. Okay, if gases are coming out of it, so you would probably not be able to collect gases. Okay, ये clear? Our mineral is clear.
Yes.
अच्छा, second one. The second one is beaker के बाद क्या है? You've got a conical flask. अच्छा, कुछ drawing with heating के अंदर I'm going to draw. अच्छा, now you've got a conical flask. What a conical flask looks like is okay, so the conical flask would be yeah, conical flask. अच्छा, so a conical flask mainly it's not used for storage. It's specifically it's normally used for reactions. This thing over here specifically is used for reactions. Why? Because it can be stoppered. Delivery tubes can be attached to collect gases. So, or what else can happen to it? Less spillage. You can things because it's got so less spillage, got a smaller opening. So you can do all of that. So mostly whenever you're trying to do reactions, you're going to use a conical flask. ठीक है, तो ये थोड़ा सा difference याद रखना. अच्छा, what else do you have? You've got test tubes. So test tubes and boiling tubes. Boiling tubes are thicker. They can be used for strong heating. That's the only difference. Test tubes, जो है ना, they're made out of so can be used for strong. So they can be used for strong heating. So what are test tubes used for? Number one, they use for testing analysis of small amounts. जो भी टेस्ट करना है, salt analysis, etc. You can salt analysis. They can be stopped with a rubber bung. You can collect gases if you want to. You can attach. See, you can attach a delivery tube to it. और क्या कर सकते हैं टेस्ट ट्यूब के साथ? You can heat it. You can heat it. Can be used for uh, can be used for decomposition, like strong heating. So make sure you remember to use a boiling tube, not a test tube. I guess that's about it. Everyone knows what a test tube is. Uh, Safety device होगी ना with a test tube. That's it. So remember, इस paper में they're going to ask you very tiny stuff. ठीक है. So safety equipment that goes with this. Those are test tube holders. एक तो वो है कि test tube holders. They're tongs for holding test tubes. Yeah, test tube holders are used for they are where you keep the test tubes. Back. यदि अगर टाइम लग रहा है तो what you're going to do is you're going to put it in a rack. ठीक है. So ये तो खैर test tube सीखी already. Aware of this. What else do we have? We've got number four. So number four is a round bottom flask. So मैं इनमें share भी कर दूंगा. So what's a round bottom flask है वो? उसका सिर्फ एक काम है, which is that it is used to solutions को heat करने के लिए use होता है. It's a round bottom flask. So this one. So this is used for normally used for heating solutions. Example ये कि distillation or reflux, you want to do that for reflux, ठीक है. And वैसे round rock bottom flask का कोई और काम नहीं है, it's just used for heating solutions. What else? What's next? Containers ही चल रहे हैं. There's another one which is a volumetric flask, number five. ठीक है, that's your. इस पे थोड़ी सी बात करते हैं वॉल्यूमेट्रिक, बल्कि अभी नहीं करते. अच्छा, वॉल्यूमेट्रिक flask. This is important. Volumetric flask is kind of like a conical flask. और उसमें कि so volumetric flask is something. It's got a longer neck. अच्छा, so it's this one has a much longer neck, and it has normally just one graduation on top of it. So what do we use a volumetric flask for? That's mainly used to dilute solutions. Okay, only one mark. All of these apparatus can come in any size. Okay, only one mark. For example, you could have a 10 ml mark or a 250. Achha, ml or seam cube is the same thing. So, etc. It's made to order. Okay, whatever you're going to order. you're going to get that. So it only has one mark. Okay. Or what is it used for? It's used for making and diluting solutions. That is what you do with a volumetric flask. Uh, how do we how do we dilute solutions? That's or how do we make solutions? That's going to be a separate story. Okay, that's something that is very important. Okay, you get asked this very frequently in your P5. कि भाई solution बनाना है 0.1 mole per d cube HCl. How do you do that? So we're going to talk about that in detail. Okay, but remember volumetric flask is like something that's really important. Okay, और यहाँ पे it's something that you would be asked to draw, and even if not draw, but it's going to be mentioned in your answers very, very frequently. That's just only one mark and kind of very accurate. The next one is your measurement. अच्छा यहाँ तक clear है मामा? Minal, is this clear?
Yes.
अच्छा measurement devices पे आ जाओ. Measurement devices is how do you measure things? Uh, the very first one, ठीक है, that's burette से start कर लेते हैं. If you want to measure volume, so you've got a burette. So burette is like उसकी क्या शक्ल होती है? Burette is a long, thin, cylindrical device with many graduations. ठीक है, there's a tap at the bottom, and ठीक है, उसकी एक particular capacity होती है, and that capacity could vary as well. ठीक है, so normally this is जो top होगा, that's normally that means 0.0 steam cube mark, and then you have इस सारी उसके ऊपर graduation. So it's got lots of graduations. Smallest graduation on a burette is 0.01 cm cube. Yeah, that's your smallest graduation. So you can say it's accurate up till 2 decimal places. 0.01 cm cube, it's accurate up till 2 decimal places. So it's 0.01, it's actually 0.1 cm cube. अच्छा, लेकिन उसकी जो accuracy ना, you can't read below 0.1, but it's accurate up till decimal places. And I'm going to explain why it's accurate up till 2 decimal places, because क्योंकि error की वजह से. ठीक है, एक तो पहले लिख दूं कि this is a very accurate. अच्छा, it's a very accurate measurement device. ठीक है, hopefully everyone knows कि it's a very accurate measurement device. Now, it's accurate up till 2 decimal places. I'm going to explain why it's accurate up till 2 decimal places. If I zoom in, so for example, this reading reads 21.1 cm cube, and then you have the next reading, which is 21.2 cm cube, and so on. You can remember reading increase करके down as you go down, and this is 21.3 cm cube. Now, although there is no reading up till 2 decimal place, but if you get a level which is right between the two, so you can go up till, you can describe this as 21.25. Okay, so no graduation. So if Reading is right in the middle. Then uh, you could read, although there is no 0.05, like, and it's if it's right in the middle, you can read up till 0.05 cm cube. Okay, is this clear? Okay, period के साथ you can go up till 2 decimal place. Is that clear?
Yes.
अच्छा, अच्छा, फिर the other thing is that you have अच्छा, इसको read किस तरह करते हैं? How do you take the values and what is the error in a period reading? The first thing is how do you use a period? Okay, there's always, let's say, the initial period reading. और इसी तरह ना there's a final period reading. ठीक है, as you pour out, तो level जो है ना वो decrease करता है. अच्छा, give me 1 second. एक सेकंड. चलिए, so I'm sure you know कि how it works. अच्छा, but the thing is कि so based on that, period is used in certain conditions, whereas it's used when you're not sure what volume of liquid needs to be poured out. Okay, so the tap is helpful. So it's normally used when you are not sure what volume of solution is needed. But there's going to be an endpoint. You don't know where the endpoint is. So tap is turned on and off repeatedly. ठीक है. अच्छा, फिर ये कि so it's repeatedly turned on and off, and uh, normally solution is poured dropwise. It's poured dropwise, close to endpoint. Okay, see the rough titles are done to get an idea of the endpoint. They give you an estimate of the end point that is going to be reached. So that is how the period works, and you might be asked to draw a table for that. ठीक है, जो practicals में होता था. So you've got your initial period reading, ठीक है, slash cm cube, and then you have your final period readings slash cm cube, और फिर क्या है, volume of FA, whatever the FA is used, slash cm cube. There's going to be, as I said, in this table, there's going to be a rough title. You get this there's going to be a rough writer, okay, there's going to be experiment one, there's going to be experiment two, and so on. Okay, so you'll do several experiments and you will figure out what the best results are. Let's go table बना लेते हैं. देख यार इस तरह का you'll have a table like this. Rough title, experiment one, experiment two. You're going to continue doing writing readings until concurrent results are obtained, concordant results are obtained. So titrations are repeatedly carried out until concordant results are obtained. उसका क्या मतलब है? Concordant means that titers that are within point. So these are titers that are within 0.1 cm3. They have a difference of 0.1. And these are used to calculate average results. To give final answer. Acha, there's a lot of things to do with ये तो सारा पता है, ठीक है, you already pretty much know about this. What's more important is there's stuff that you need to know. First thing is how do you clean a period? ठीक है, number one. How to clean or prepare a period. So उसमें the number one thing is that you need what you do is you rinse it with you always rinse puree not with water but with the same solution with small amount of the with small amount of the same solution as a rinse puree with small amount of the same solution that is to be used. What that means is if you're using it for HCl, so you're going to rinse it with the same HCl. Because the problem is that anything that enters, even water, you don't want water to enter into it. Okay, if water enters, the problem is there's going to be some water that would still be sticking to the burette on the sides. And that will dilute whatever solution that you're going to add. So you're not going to rinse it with water. Okay? So I'm going to add this that the problem with water is rinsing, we can't dry it, right? Rinsing with water would uh, contaminate it with water, right? And any solution that is added afterwards will get diluted. And that will affect the concentration. अच्छा फिर इसमें you're cleaning the period, make sure to run the solution through the nozzle before use. So before you use it, make sure you run some solution through the nozzle. You want the nozzle to be clean as well. So अगर इसको HCl के लिए use करना है ना, what you're going to do is you're going to pour it and rinse it with HCl, right? So and you're going to throw that HCl away, right? So that all the contaminants, all the sites, they would be contaminated with the HCl, and that won't affect the solution that you're adding because that is also going to be HCl. And secondly, you're going to run some through the nozzle so that the nozzle gets clean as well, and the nozzle doesn't have air bubbles trapped in it. So make sure to run some solution through the nozzle before use so that nozzle gets cleaned of any previous contaminants and has no trapped air bubbles. Okay, you have to be careful about that as well. अच्छा ये चीज क्लियर है सारों को? Little
Yes.
power. अच्छा तो ये छोटी छोटी बातें ठीक है which you have to remember about the period. Or important. There's other stuff that's important as well about the period. One is that uh, lower meniscus is red for. So the lower meniscus is going to be is red for colorless solutions. And upper meniscus upper meniscus is going to be used for colored solutions. I say it's not important. I say दो तीन चीजें. It's although it's not mandatory to. So it's not mandatory to fill the period up till the 0 CMQ mark. Yeah, but it's always good to fill it till the top so that you don't run out of solution. You don't run out of solution. And so, but then there's a very important thing, which is that never fill. ये बल्कि उससे बहुत दफा ना पूछा हुआ भी है, never fill the period to 0 CMQ mark if solution is colored or very dark. Okay, if you fill it up till the 0 CMQ mark, the problem would be, okay, let's say graduations are right in front of you. Now, if you fill it up till the 0 CMQ mark, right to the top, then you won't be able to see any graduation. All the graduations would go away. So then you won't even be able to be sure that that is the 0 CMQ mark. It's, you might have filled it up till this point. So the point is, you always fill up. If it's a colored solution, you always fill up to a slightly lower level so you can at least get the reading give what level you're standing at, right? So ये बात clear है?
Yes.
ठीक है. So never fill the period with 0 CMQ mark if solution is colored or very dark and और उसकी reason क्या है as all graduations will disappear. तो अगर let's say K bro 4 है ना, तो और आपने लिख दिया ना कि उसको 0.0 सीएम क्यू मार्क तक फिल कर दो, तो प्रॉब्लम ये होगा कि वो उसके मार्क्स कटेंगे, क्योंकि फिर आपको नजर ही नहीं आएगा कि आपने फिल कहाँ तक किया। तो all graduations will disappear, so you don't do that. ठीक है। अच्छा, बाकी है कि errors in Buret reading. अच्छा, अभी फिलहाल what we'll do is कि errors in Buret reading is that it's the error for any device is basically the minimum graduation, and you divide by 2. Okay, this is always your error in any device. It's the smallest graduation or the minimum graduation divided by 2. Uski reason ye कि if I have let's say this is the side of a pyramid and it has these graduations 21.1, and then there is 21.2, and then there is 21.3. So if you have a reading that's 21.3, that basically means that reading 21.4 be like that. So if I have a reading and I've got 21.4, so the trouble is that that value could be anywhere between half a graduation, any value that is in this range. That could be read as 21.3. Your value is somewhere slightly higher, or it might be something that's slightly lower. So that means that your readings have this error in them, because you can't go slightly higher, slightly lower, you can't really guess. So it's plus minus 0.05, which is the smallest graduation. So it is the smallest graduation, which is this. Okay, that's the smallest graduation. And divide by 2. ठीक है, वो ऊपर, and half a graduation नीचे, ठीक है. So the error is always half a graduation up and half a graduation below the actual value. Because you can't really, अगर इधर भी आ रहा है, it's 21.3 something, but you don't really know, so you just write plus minus 0.05. So that is always the error, and for a burette that's going to be plus minus 0.05. Okay. So the error in a burette is it's 0.1 is the smallest graduation divided by 2, and that gives you plus minus 0.05. चलो ठीक है, यहाँ पे खत्म करते हैं. पीरियड की कुछ बातें बता दी हैं, we'll continue with this, ठीक है. Tomorrow we'll have class at 11 as well, ठीक है. चले, okay everyone.
Allah Hafiz.